Hey, what's up? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about my 10 things that I want you to think about to help kind of alleviate your fears of the recession that we might be in right now or the coming recession. It's all over the news. I was looking at some of the YouTube videos and it talks about Bill Gates thinks that we're in a recession. The collapse has just begun. Everything is going to be real bad. And, it's just recession, recession, recession. And if you watch my previous videos, I talked about the 4 recessions that I've personally lived, or the 3 that I personally lived through, and this one here that I believe that we're currently in. And I talked about the cycles, that there's like this 10-year cycle that no matter what, I've seen this. It's like a 9 to 10 year. And when I started my first business in 1992, we were in a recession from, I believe, 1990 or late 91 to 92. And then right after that, you had the dot-com recession. That's what they call it. But it was still a recession, with stocks and with real estate had went down. A lot of stuff had happened. And even before the 1990, there was one with the savings and loan scandal that happened that kind of brought the market down. And then you had 2008, which was the huge, talking about it was going to be a financial collapse. I bet if you talk to someone who was probably a teenager at that time of 2008, and you told them how bad it was that they said it was going to be in the news, they wouldn't even believe you. Like, look, we're here. It's like, 10, it's 12 years later. So they wouldn't even believe you. So that's a big reason why I want to make this video, because you're going to make it through it. You're going to make it through it even stronger if you follow my 10 steps that I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to start on those 10 steps right now. So the first thing in my 10 steps to alleviate your fears of the recession is to stop worrying. For some reason, people worry about all types of things that haven't happened. It's like, why would you waste your time and your energy, your thoughts on something that hasn't happened yet? Just because somebody said it, just because some words from a news station or some words from some YouTube guru or some big person that supposedly said the sky is falling. Why would you worry about something until it happened? The next thing is number 2, which is I want you to really get this done. This is like my homework for you, is I want you to put together 2, if you don't have it already, some of you may have it, $2,000 cash put aside for an emergency fund. I'm not talking about credit cards. I'm not talking about getting access to some type of equity line of credit or something like that. I'm talking about $2,000 cash that if you need to get something done, or you need to get extra food or stock up on something, new tires for the car, those types of things, emergencies, so you don't get yourself into more debt to go get those taken care of. I want you to get $2,000 together. I know some people say 1,000, like Dave Ramsey say 1,000, and that he says that just as a baby step. You really need about $2,000, if not more, with the expense of things that are going on right now. Like prices are way up, and those are going to go down. So don't let inflation scare you either. When it gets to its peak, it's going to always come down, because at some point the peak in the high prices is going to outweigh what people are willing to pay, and then there's going to be a contraction, and then you're going to see people complaining on the other side. They're going to say that profits are down. They're going to say production has halted or has ceased in certain factories. You're going to see all of these people that are getting you worried on one side are now going to get you worried when everything starts to contract and starts to come down. Next thing is number 3 is you need to right now. Now is the time. When things are like this is the time to fix that credit. This is the time to get your score increased, because when things go back up and you want to get things, you want to utilize your credit. Maybe you want to buy a house, you want to buy a new car. you're going to be in the position to be able to get the lowest interest rates. I don't care what anyone tells you. There's not going to be any banking collapse. There's not going to be any collapse of the dollar. So you better get your credit, and you better get your debt under control, and you better increase your scores, because that's what's going to get you in the position to be able to be prosperous in the future. Stop worrying about things right now, and that worry makes you not take action on things that you can actually control and fix right now. So get that credit fixed, get that score increase. Next, number 4, I want you to look for opportunities that are available to you. Now, some of them might be where you start your own business. Some of them might be where you invest in certain stuff. My main thing is I want you to think about, when you're looking at investments, get things that fit your personality. Let me give you an example. What I do now, and what I've learned, is that I'm like the creator. That's probably why I do really well here on YouTube, because I can sit here and I know what's in my head, and I can relay it to you in a video. I've actually consulted with people trying to get their channels going, and they can't do that. They just it just seems like you just know what you're talking about. That's because I do know what I'm talking about. But even more importantly than that, it fits my personality. Like, I can remember when I was on guard duty, or even before that, when I was 15, 16 years old, looking at people talking in the front of the room, and that's what I want to do. I want to be a business person just like that person. I would practice. I would be walking around, and people, I'm talking to myself. Or like when I was in the Army, I was on guard duty, and I was actually practicing. This is the crazy thing. I was actually practicing to talk to people. And look at what I do now. I make videos. I go and do, workshops, speaking in front of people, speak to people on the phone. This is what I do. I'm a creator for that. So always pick the type of business that fits your personality. A lot of people get it wrong. They go and try to fit the business on how much money they want to make, when it's really the reverse. When you fit it to your personality, you're going to be able to, number one, link yourself into the business, because it's going to be tough at the beginning. It's always going to be tough, but you're going to get a lot out of it because of what you're doing. When I was making YouTube videos, I would have 0 people watch a video. But did I care? I was making the information for that one person that needed help with their credit, that needed help boosting their scores, that needed help getting out of debt, that needed that motivation to keep moving forward. That's who I was making a video for. And because I was a creator type, I didn't care if other people didn't watch. I didn't care if I didn't get thousands of views. I just made them. And then all of a sudden, it came back, the rewards came back, but it was me putting forth first. And so it's very important. If you don't fit it to your personality, you're just going to be skipping around doing all types of things. You're never going to settle down and be able to see the growth from the seeds that you plant on what you're doing. The next thing, number 5, is I want you to pay down your debt. I don't care. You might be saying, I don't make enough money, this and that. You don't know if you don't make enough money until you write down what you owe. You look at your bills. You look at your expenses for your household, and then you put together a plan to just pick one bill and say, we're going to pay that one down, and we're going to do it this way. Just whatever plan, and you will see. This happens to me a lot of times when you just write it down, get it out of your brain, get it out of your mind, put it on paper, see it for what it is, so it can take away all the fears. And then you could put together a plan and say, okay, we're going to take some money from here, and we're going to pay down that debt, because that's going to open up more money for us every month. And all you have to do is stay disciplined not to pay down debt and then to get right back into debt. That's what a lot of people do. You see people, get a new credit card, pay off that other credit card with so they can get a lower interest, with the thought process of I'm going to be paying a lower interest on that card, and then they go back and they charge up the card that they just transferred the balance on. So why do that? Don't be that way. Stay disciplined. So when you pay down a debt, leave that debt. If it's a credit card, just leave it open. You might have to use it a little bit just to keep it active, because you know how they play their little games, because we don't want your score to go down. So but you gotta start picking some debts to pay down, because you're not going to be able to advance forward with any amount of money that you make. I went through this before in the past, where started my business in 1990. 1991, started my business, went from making a little over $364.84 every 2 weeks as a security guard to 4 years later making over $100,000. And I was in the same situation. I just had more money, but I had more debt. So you don't want to get into that situation, or you want to be able to get yourself out of that situation. Most of you that are listening to this video are in that situation, maybe not having as much debt as I had, but you graduated from school, or you trade school, or just graduated from high school and got a good job, making more money, and you just advanced, and all of a sudden, the more money you made, the more credit you got, and you just don't see that, you're not really getting anywhere. Yeah, you got some stuff, nice car, maybe you got a house, but what do you have for yourself, which is other than the material stuff? Do you have money set aside so you don't have to, be so stressful on something going wrong, be so stressful that every dollar of your paycheck is going out to pay bills? That's not an existence that you want to have. And I went through it, and part of what I always talk about on the videos is you got to get out of that mode. You can't be spending all of your money from your paycheck on just everything else except for yourself. Next thing is news. I want you to, number 6 is news is an opinion. And, it could be the opinion of the people who write it. It could be the opinion of that channel. You might have a conservative or liberal or down the middle type channel. You never know what it is. But regardless of what type of news you listen to, it's all opinion. It's 100% opinion. No one can see the future. So don't let people scare you thinking that what they say is everything. Because I was looking at my stocks the other day, and they were saying, it's getting worse. And my stock portfolio went up $10,000 in one day. And they're saying it's getting worse. Yeah, it did go down, but let me tell you why this goes down. Stocks can only go down when people want or need their money. And if let me connect a few dots for you. Elon Musk, he's big in the news. Elon Musk with the vehicle, what is that? Tesla. He wants to buy Twitter out. So now think about this. He doesn't pay any federal taxes. Now, yeah, the company pays taxes, stuff like that, on employees, but the company itself pays no taxes. You can look this up for yourself. And the way that people in that income, or that level, what they do is they just take loans against their stock, and they eventually will pay the loans back, or they'll whatever they do. But when you sell that stock, you have to also pay the capital gains tax on that stock. So right now, what's happening, and it's same with him. He's got to make this decision. That's why it keeps going kind of back and forth on him, just like pulling the trigger, because if he does it, he's going to have to sell stock. He's going to have to pay taxes and buy Twitter at the same time. And so what people are doing, companies, individuals that have stock with these companies, is that it's time, banks have called on some of these debts to be paid. That's plain and simple. They've said either the trading companies that have done a margin call saying that you need to pay your margin. I never buy any stock on margin. I'm not that type of investor, but I can tell you in my account right now, Ameritrade says that I have over $200,000 that I could use on margin. And I never use it. I always invest with my own money. So there's a lot of margin calls happening. People, when they do the margin calls, some of the times what will happen is if the person can't pay that margin, one of the things that the trading platforms or the companies, they have written in their terms of use agreement is that they can make you sell it. They can sell it and take possession of the money that comes from the trade, from the sale of that stock. When they make a margin call and you don't pay that margin in a certain amount of days, they will force the sale of that stock. So when I look at some news reports that were out there, there were several, I mean, not several, there were thousands of margin calls that were pulled. Some of these companies had billions of dollars in margin calls. It was like you're either going to pay the interest right now or you have to sell that stock right now. And what do you think happened? They started selling the stocks. They started saying we got to just cut our losses right now and just sell it, get what we get, pay our debts, because we want to live to be able to be in the game again. If you don't pay that margin, you're not going to be in the game again. So, and then for people that are not margin, just regular average individuals that might be overfinanced with real estate. I've had clients that were overfinanced with real estate. They own Bitcoin and they were like, I got to sell my Bitcoin. I need money. I need to get some money to pay, down some of this real estate that I have. Same situation kind of happened, but it was no Bitcoin in 2008. I had individuals that came to me for information on, either selling their business or selling a portion, selling like a location, so they can get cash to pay off other real estate. And now what's happening is I've had several of my business associates that have Bitcoin. They were upwards at the 50,000 value, and it went all the way down into the 20s. And they were like, this is almost $5,000 over what I bought it for, and I need to get my money. So they're selling it, and it makes the Bitcoin value go down. No matter. So if you just understand that the sell-off, unless the company is just a piece of junk company, which sometimes it's hard to figure that out. But if it's a company that is utilized like Netflix, GoDaddy, Carnival, Pfizer, I'm naming off ones that I have, Square, companies that your people are utilizing these companies, even with Tesla and Amazon and all those. Yeah, they went down, but people utilize these companies will bounce back very good. And right now it's really, if you had a temperament, this is the time to buy the stuff. I still have all of my stocks. I probably, when everything bounces back, probably I have, if not, I'm estimating minimum 300,000, but I believe if I get on another 10-year run, it could be over $1 million just with the group that I have right now, just with this small group of stocks, with how much I have, with how much I've also kind of, in a way, doubled down on my investments. The next thing is, these are my opinions. So I just talked about them, but I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm going to just reiterate it. These are my opinions. And you should always do your homework for yourself so you can make sure that you're making an educated decision from seeing different sides. Next thing is invest in the market. And I kind of briefly went over that. But when one of the mistakes that I made in 2008 is I had took my money out and I had got into real estate, which I made more than quadrupled, probably over 1 or 1.5 years time, did over 200,000 in profit just from real estate. And so, but I should have also left it in the market, because I would have had that 10-year run, and then I would be preparing for another 10-year run. That would have been a 20-year run of gains. And so the lesson that I've learned is in this one, when it crunched down, and I just, my wife and I decided just leave that like it is, just leave it like it is. And it's actually creeping up, it's creeping up. People always jump in when it's already jumping up, and they'd be like, well, how did you know that it was going to be bouncing up like that? I didn't know, I just stayed steady. But I think that if you do your research, you will be able to, maybe find one or two stocks just to, get them so you can kind of feel the ups and downs, so you can get used to that. Also, if it's your personality, if you're not, if you got to be hands on, it's going to be, sometimes it could be tough for that type of individual to invest in the stock market, because you have to have too much control over stuff. And but if you are of the mindset of where you can say, hey, I can trust to put my money into the market and let the market do what it's going to do, and let it do it over time. Don't use money that you're going to need right now. You could do very well. If that's not your personality, then you may need to do something that's more hands-on, like real estate. Real estate is more hands-on, where you could be involved. You can go there to the site. You can get the materials. You can kind of monitor how long it's taken to, number one, buy properties. Number two, fix them, and then turn them around and sell them. Or if you're going to rent them, you can be in that, or the virtual real estate with websites, with an online business. As long as you study how to do an online business. There's a lot of people that sell you an online business, but they know nothing about how to really run an online business. They just know how to sell you how-to stuff on that. And then just there's other types of businesses, storefronts, different types. If you have some type of passion, where you have a storefront and it's kind of unique, I wouldn't do one that's like the same as everybody else, because that is not where our market is going. You can see all of the different food franchises. You can see all the different types of retail stores that are making it right now. They're mainly specialty type stores that bring in a certain market, and you need to be able to know that that market can support your business, that there needs to be enough people in your area to support that business. Number 9 is learn from what is going on right now. A lot of people make it through these different times where it was very hard and stressful, and then all of a sudden it's 1 or 2 years later, and then they didn't even think about the lessons that they learned. If you're my age, I'm about to turn 54 in August. If you're my age, you know that you've made it through 3, and I'll say a half recessions. You made it through a shutdown, which we've never experienced a shutdown in our lifetime, and we made it through it. And you see how the economy is changing. Be more awake to what's going on. You can see, if you are more awake, you'll see that there's all types of opportunities that are available. But if you're more awake, which is why you're watching my channel also, is that a lot of those opportunities do start with credit and having good scores. Like, I just wanted to make that, repeat that, because it does start from there. Like, don't believe people who say it's not going to matter about your own personal credit and credit debt and credit scores. And then number 10, to close it all out, to put it all, wrap it up in the present so you can open it up again. Number 10 is to take action now. So if you didn't, you need to rewind this video, watch it again, take the notes, and I guarantee years from now that you would say that this was probably one of the best videos that you had ever watched, because it actually opened up your mind and alleviated fears and gave you things to focus on so you can move forward right now rather than being in fear. False evidence appearing real. That's all that fear is. And also, think about how you'll feel if you accomplish things. If you go through life and then you get to a certain point and you're like, was this it? Like, was this the best that I could do? Like, I always remind myself that I'll be like, Steve, is this the best that you can do, or can you do better? What can you do to improve? Like for the credit repair shop, what can you do to improve? With customer service, what can you do? No, you can't satisfy everybody. You can't. Everybody is different. So no matter what, everybody is different. So don't even focus on that part. So if you thought about that, you're like, well, what about what this person might say? What about what this person might think? What about what my family member might think? Don't worry about that. You just think about being the best that you can be, and some people are going to accept it, and some people are not. That's the way it is, and you don't need to waste that energy on that side. Put that energy into being better, and the people who see that, they will appreciate it. The people who don't, you have to just push them off to the side. That's just what you have to do. All right, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you for your time. If you haven't done it yet, please like this video. I'd really appreciate it. We need to get more people exposed to this information from my channel. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process and my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com. Grab those reports. We'll also do a free review from those reports. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations letter, debt validation letter, and the cease and desist collection activities letter. Those letters do work. It can save you a lot of time, headaches, and money. I do ask for a donation on those. I really appreciate it. It helps me, for my time here talking to you on the channel. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. You have a great day.